Today on Destination Polaris.
Bonjour tous les spectateurs de Destination Polaris.
You said it. Pack your bags. We're off to Quebec, Canada.
Destination Polaris is presented by Rugged Radios, the authority in communications.
Bienvenue, Quebec. Welcome to Destination Polaris. We are in Canada this week, just south of Quebec City. And as you can see, it is absolutely perfect. Our ride command navigation points us to Canada and Quebec City, where we head to the rolling hills of southern Quebec. It's been over a decade since I last rode in Quebec, and we should never wait this long. The province has nearly 20,000 kilometers of trails. Skip the conversion to miles, and let's just say that's a lot.
Everybody has a quad or a snowmobile or something.
Charles Durand is the local Polaris rep and a Quebec native.
Every week and weekend I try to ride. I go either snowmobiling, quad, motocross, motorcycle, everything I can drive. I love it.
Charles is part of a small group of riders who've agreed to show us around for the week.
The first day of riding, we're going to go down to La Beauce, which is another region.
Greg is also a Quebec native, and he's going to be our guide.
There are signs for the ATV. The ATV clubs, they're subsidized through the annual pass, so they take care of it.
Today's plan is to get familiar with the trails, stop for lunch, and visit the local dam. We chose to visit Quebec in the fall and picked the perfect week.
As you can see, no mosquitoes, so I think that just in itself is reason enough to pick fall.
We're very lucky. The leaves have started falling, but not all fallen yet.
Most of the trails we'll be riding today are fairly wide and flat. Not so challenging, but they do offer a chance to cover a fair amount of distance.
There are a lot. You can go many days without doing the same trail twice.
We followed Greg for a few hours before stopping for lunch. So one of the best things about these international shoots is the food. And of course, here in Quebec, we have Route 66. And I'm guessing poutine is on the menu. I'm gonna have the poutine. Small? Small, yes. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And this is the small. I don't want to know what the large looks like.
Yeah, you don't need the large.
I don't need the large. Yeah. Yeah, the large. Wow. Wow. Wow, the large is that? Whoa. His ride is over.
Yeah. First time eating there, and it was delicious. And now I'm gonna have to go back because I told my wife it was good. So now she wants us to drive down with the ATV and go try it out.
That's what I'm talking about. Hot. Ooh. I'm sure it won't be the last time this week we have the poutine.
There are hundreds and hundreds of kinds, but you know, I like the traditional one. It's just fries, sauce, cheese curds. That's it. It's a rite of passage. I mean, if you've got visitors from Ontario, outside of Quebec, from the US like you guys, it's a you have to try the poutine.
With full bellies, we got back on the trail in search of our final destination. We rolled into one of the most popular local spots. Hey Greg, why don't you take us on a dam tour?
Jimmy, Steve, yeah, come on. These are easy steps, aren't they? Oh, it's nice from down here, huh?
Oh, it's not that bad.
I know nothing about this dam, but you know everything.
Not everything. I know a little bit.
Oh, yeah. What's the story?
So we're in Sainte-Clotilde-de-Beauce, and as you saw, there's a rest area up there. It's a must-stop for everybody on their ATVs when they pass through here. What we know about the dam, it's dammed up. There's houses on there. It was built in 1938. It was renovated in 1996, and it's approximately 30 feet high. That's about what I know about it. That's all I know.
It's a beautiful spot, and you say everyone stops here, or this is a must stop.
I've never seen an ATV go by without stopping.
It's very cool.
I had never seen that dam, no, for sure.
I've never seen it without water. In the winter, it freezes up. So it's like, it's like icicles going all the way down, like stalagmites or stalactites, I'm not sure which ones. So it's very nice in the winter. It's all frozen up, a bit like Niagara Falls.
Pretty damn nice. That's part of the adventure, right? You go see things that you would never see otherwise.
Guys, take all the damn photos you want and let's head home for the night. A fantastic first day in Quebec. There's so much more to see and explore. You're watching Destination Polaris.
Destination Polaris is sponsored by Rugged Radios, the authority in communications. Rockford Fosgate, purpose-built audio. Walton's, everything but the meat. And by Casey's, here for good.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. Any trip to Quebec isn't complete without a visit to Old Quebec.
Old Quebec is in Quebec City, so it's all the foundations of where the city started so many years ago, and all the history, the rich history and culture of Quebec. That was all based in old Quebec. So if I were to give you something to knock you out, drop you somewhere in Europe, and you'd wake up there, you can tell the difference. When you're in the old Quebec, you're just taken away like if you were in Europe somewhere.
The entire city of Old Quebec is surrounded by a wall.
And I think it's one of the only cities in all of Canada, actually, that have a fortified city like that.
It's a really cool city and just an hour north of where we're riding this week.
The culture is French, so for Americans or English-speaking Canadians, they just show up and they're immersed in a whole different culture.
Culture is a big part of Quebec, and the off-road nation is very strong.
Be it either in summer or in winter, there's thousands and thousands of kilometers and miles of trails all over.
Our plan today is to ride to one of the major destinations in the area.
Well, Greg, we've reached one of the major destinations here in the area, the quarry.
This, Jared, this is the Flint Coat Quarry. It's very well known in all of Quebec for the scuba diving because of the quality of the water. On a clear day, you can see the water is almost turquoise, which is caused by the minerals in the water. There's some green minerals because asbestos was mined here. So there's like green minerals in the asbestos mixed in with the water. It gives it that turquoise color. And it's a premier diving spot. The Canadian Navy does all their certification here. And from what I saw or heard, there's about 2,000 divers a year that come here. At the bottom, they've put stuff so you can visit. There's a kitchen. They put a kitchen table with 4 chairs so you can dive and sit down in the kitchen. They put in a school bus at the bottom, but they cut off the top so nobody gets stuck in the bus. There's a pontoon, there's a snowmobile, a car that I know of.
Well, you would never know.
No, you would never know. It just that the ATV trail drives right up to here, so that's how we found out about it.
That's amazing, and the fact that it's, 360 feet deep, you wouldn't know that just by looking at it here. That's really deep.
Yeah, it is, and that's what the stuff that they put at the bottom, it's on the sides, where it's about 50 to 100 feet deep.
Like 5 years ago when I started ATVing, I was in a group, and one day we went out, like 20 of us, and the guy said, who hasn't seen the quarry? So my hand went up, and a whole bunch of other hands too, and we went up to the quarry, and now everybody knows about it, so we're telling people who are telling people who are telling other people.
I've been a scuba diver since I was pretty young, so I knew about that place and I had already been there, and I was looking on my Polaris Ride Command map, and I could see that I had actually passed right by there with my my side-by-side earlier this summer. I wasn't expecting us to drive up to it today, so it was a cool surprise for me too.
When we can surprise the locals, then we've done our job. Still to come, we take a trip back in time. You're watching Destination Polaris.
Destination Polaris is sponsored by Polaris Adventures. Adventure everywhere. Aluma Trailers, ready to ride when you are. Flow Fast, the ultimate portable fluid transfer system. And by AMSOIL, run with us.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. People ask me all the time, where's a great place to ride? And there's a ton of them. But what I love is not only a place to ride, but a place to stay.
I'm manager of the mountain.
Jimmy Lane manages the local resort.
I have a chalet. I have a cool box, habitat pod, yurt. I have a little house. The mountain have a lake and trail. 45 minutes of Quebec City. It's approximately. It's a popular destination for quad because the trail just in front of mountain, and when the people just go a big trip, arrive with VTT, and hey, can I have a house for me for the night? And yes.
We dropped our bags here for the week, and it was perfect. You can leave right out the front gate and go any direction you want.
As soon as you leave the lot, you can go right, you can go left, or you can go straight, and it's all ATV trails. So it is a good spot to have as a home base.
I don't know exactly how many miles you have, but when you start there, you have a trail for day before day before day.
Cruise around the resort and you'll start to notice little signs of a different world half a century ago.
The home base where you guys are staying at Domaine du Radar in Saint-Sylvestre, which is about an hour south of Quebec City. It's an old army base, joint venture between the Canada and the U.S. government for NORAD back in the early 50s, because they were afraid the Russians would come in. If you look at a map, Russia is west, but if you look at a globe, Russia is right over the horizon of Canada to the north. So if Russia is going to attack the United States, they would go over Quebec to attack New York or Philadelphia or Boston back then. So that's what the base was for. But back in the early 60s, with the advent of satellites and stuff, the base wasn't needed anymore, so it closed down.
A dozen years ago, a local businessman bought the property and got to work on renovations. Charles and his family stayed here during the summer.
It just happened, my girlfriend booked it in the beginning of the summer. We spent a long weekend there and we had a blast. Domaine du Radar it's about an hour or 15 minutes from my house, so it's pretty close. And the weather was awesome, the catering was nice. It was a really cool experience, yeah.
Take the trail to the back side of the resort and you'll get one of the best views in all of Quebec.
This is a great view.
It is.
Yeah. What can we see from here?
Apparently we get a nice view from all of Quebec, and as the guide said, you know, it's pretty much the highest point all around.
He said 2,300 meters, is that
Something
what he
like
said?
that,
Okay.
yeah. I think that was strategic when they installed the base here back in the
doubt.
50s.
Right. Yeah, this is a great view.
It is. And again, with, like we said, with the time of year, with all the leaves turning orange like that, it's just perfect.
It's here you can see a ton of turbines.
I wonder how many turbines are out here.
Good question. I wouldn't know, but they put them in at least 10 years ago.
You're supposed to know everything, Charles.
I know.
Quebec.
You know what? I know about the quads.
I'm going to switch hats with him here
Yeah.
real soon. This you know about and this I know about, so yeah.
We got the chance to ride and see a few up close.
It's interesting because it's impressive because you have a big palm just out of your head.
So far, it's been a great trip to Quebec, and it's about to get a whole lot sweeter. You're watching Destination Polaris. Destination Polaris is sponsored by Braven Off-Road. Live brave. Rotocap, the ultimate UTV bed cover. Fly Racing, helmets and apparel by riders for riders. And by CanvasWorks, custom, durable, soft-sided enclosures for any trailer. Welcome back to DP. We're about to wrap up our trip to Quebec, but we can't leave without taking home some local flavor. It's impossible to miss. Ride along the trails and you'll see lines and lines of maple syrup tubes.
It's maple region here in this area.
It's serious business in Quebec. Over 90% of Canada's maple syrup and roughly 3/4 of the world's maple syrup supply is produced right here in Quebec.
It's a lot of maple region here, so there's a lot of maple trees, so there's a lot of trails that go into the woods, into sugar shacks and stuff. Like if you look behind me, there's sugar shacks all around me.
We got an up-close look at the operations.
So Charles, we've been riding, and everywhere we go, I see these.
Yeah, the blue lines.
The blue lines.
Yeah.
This is like the home of maple syrup, is it not?
We're right in the heart of it, yeah, for sure. The maple syrup all over. So they're collecting the sap off the trees and they leave them there all year round. So when spring comes around, all they have to do is make sure that the lines are good to go and start picking up the sap.
It's not a few lines. I mean, there are
Thousands.
thousands.
Yeah.
It's serious business up here.
Oh,
isn't
it
it?
is, yeah, a lot of money in there, and it's pretty competitive too. So yeah, and you know, like oil, depending on how much you produce that year, the price goes up or it goes down.
How good is the maple syrup from Quebec?
Well, anything else is just it's just colored sugar water, I guess. I mean, this is the best. You can't beat it. We probably put it on the map and invented it for sure.
I wonder, are there more lines of maple syrup than trails in Quebec?
I think there's 18,000 kilometers of trails in the summer and 33,000 in the winter. Just in Quebec, just in Quebec.
Let's call it a tie. Either way, you can't go wrong.
Beautiful summer, beautiful spring and fall. So I mean, we got it all here. So it's really cool for me.
And in the summertime, you have a lake, you have activity on lake, and autumn it's colorful. Each season have own things. Each time is the best time.
Thanks for coming, you guys, and it was an awesome experience for all of us to have you here.
Alors merci à tous d'avoir écouté l'émission et on se voit à la prochaine.
Merci beaucoup. Au revoir, Quebec.